I feel like I've been slapped by polygamy.
Oh,
It's hard not to be bitter about the fact that I bought off on it and did it, because in the end, in the last moments of it, it felt terrible. I don't want to pursue another woman because I don't want that headache, the questions, the struggles, the wonder about trust. I'm not in that space.
hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, May 2nd, 2025. On the most recent episode of Sister Wives, Kody Brown sat down with Robin and they talked about, his relationship with his kids and how they were improving. And recently on a Patreon, McKelty and Tony talked about this episode because they just watched it. And they stated that while Cody's relationship at that point in time was getting better, they said that it's kind of regressed since they've left the state of Utah and now live in North Carolina, because a lot of Cody's contact with the other family members went through McKelty and Tony. And when they removed themselves from having to be intermediators between not only Christine and Cody, but their siblings, Cody kind of gave up part of it. And then once Garrison passed away, relationships with Cody dissolved and got worse. So on the one hand, Cody has saying, oh, everything is better. But then on the other hand, McKelty says in real time, things really haven't gotten better. And the only way it will get better is if my dad actually takes accountability for what he has said and done on the show and then really nasty things that he has said about his kids. And it would be then and only then that he would have a possibility of restoring his relationships with his children that he's alienated from. But his alienation is his own doing. It has nothing to do with the other women. It's his abusive rhetoric that he has used, the things that he has said about the kids, and the way that he has portrayed them that they take issue with, and the nasty things he has said about not only them, but their moms.
I hate it when my dad lumps all of his kids into one group and says like all of my kids blank, all of my kids this, my kids all whatever. I hate it. I wish that he would distinguish between us all, but I think he does it to protect us. Even though he says really awful stuff sometimes, he doesn't want to, be singular in calling any one of us out. So I think that's one of the reasons why he does that, But I do hope that like through his healing and his acknowledgement that he was in a bad place, he really, 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 really hardcore works on having a better, stronger relationship with all of his kids. I think a lot of that will come from like he has to acknowledge and he has to validate, I said these bad things. They were wrong. I am sorry. I take responsibility and accountability. I love you. Let's continue to progress together. But no more, like you can't shove it under, you can't, make peace and be happy, like none of that. He has to like implode all the relationships, dig deep, go through everything, and then work to like build up. You got to take it all down to build up stronger again,
So Cody in real time's relationships with his kids has not improved, and it's gotten almost worse since Garrison's passing. So on that note, Cody is apparently waving his white flag and realizing that he has no case when it comes to his daughter Truly, because yesterday in Utah court, Kody Brown and Christine entered into a settlement agreement for child support and for compliance with child support. And details of the settlement are not currently public, and we don't know what the plans are for moving forward here. But something changed between September and now, where Cody is no longer fighting Christine. When Christine filed her case against Cody back in September, she filed for parenting time, child custody, and child support and paternity. Cody then filed a countersuit against her, which everyone was like, why would Cody actually file a countersuit? He has no relationship with his daughter, Truly. And it just seemed petty and mean-spirited. And a lot of us, including me, were like, well, he's probably doing this because my opinion was that he doesn't want to pay child support. That was my opinion. So yesterday, they filed a settlement agreement, and then Kody completed a child support worksheet and statement of compliance. So what this form is, it includes that Christine and Kody both had to submit to the court pay stubs from employers or 1099s, however they're getting paid. Both of them, Christine and Kody, had to provide a copy of their tax returns, and that had to be submitted to the court. And then they also had to do a worksheet, which is attached to it, which was used to determine what the child support amount was. And it would be based upon whether or not they're doing sole physical custody, joint physical custody, or split custody. And then the child support is based on uniform support guidelines. And they're basically stating that it's in compliance with the child support guidelines of the state. So they're using the guidelines of the worksheet that the state has for how much he will pay. As I previously stated, I believe the fact that Truly is 15 years old now, and the fact that she turned 15 in April is a huge factor in this case because Truly gets to decide where she wants to live. And Kody can fight all day, every day, and say that he wants to see her more, but he has to be able to prove that he's actually having and established a relationship with her and knows her. And literally in this most recent episode, he's talking about how he doesn't even have a relationship with his kids because he's not in the homes with them because all of it's through his wives or his ex-wives. And when he's talking about going to Utah, the reason why he's going there obviously is, one, it's to see McKelty, but it was to see his daughter Truly, right? So if he's trying to say like I don't have a relationship with them because of Christine, it was almost like he was trying to set up that he's been alienated and he was going to try to use that in a child custody case. Like Christine alienated me from these kids, and that's why I don't have relationships. Well, the funny thing about child custody and these types of cases is that once a kid gets to a certain age, they get to tell a judge what they want and what they think and where they want to live. And I don't think the writing on the wall would have been in Kody's favor because had this gone to trial, all of this would have been very messy for him. There would have been all of the dirty laundry coming out about how much of a non-factor he has been in the life of his daughter Truly, how she almost died under his care, how he didn't pay for her insurance after she was in the hospital and almost died, how he basically abandoned Christine after she had that child, and Kody never established a good relationship with his daughter Truly. And Truly has, for all intents and purposes, been incredibly attached to not only Christine, but her older sisters. Both Aspen and McKelty played a really big role in helping Christine with Truly when she was younger. And then once Aspen and McKelty moved away, they, the older two girls that were above Truly, Gwendolyn and Isabel, played another big role in helping Christine with Truly. And so Truly has always had a very close relationship to her sisters. So it would be ridiculous to assume that a judge in this case, if she wants to live with mom, she has a good relationship with mom, she has a good relationship with her stepdad, she has family that's all in Utah, she's got Isabel, she has Aspen, who's honestly just announced her pregnancy. So Aspen and Mitch are expecting their first child. Aspen was on a local Fox network talking about Mother's Day, and she was being interviewed by a local journalist, and she was showing them what Kendra Scott can offer for mothers, but she said that she was pregnant, expecting her first, so it would be like, it's like almost her first Mother's Day. She looked like she was pretty far along, probably 6-7 months, so congratulations to Mitch and Aspen. But the familial connections here would be hard for Kody to overcome. And then coincidentally, in the same Patreon, McKelty and Tony talked about the fact that Kody rarely goes to Utah. So apparently, the way that Tony described it was that Robin puts a lot of pressure on Kody and guilts him when he travels. And so when he travels, he can only spend a certain amount of time. And he called it like the cost of going. So Robin places these like guilts him and makes him feel bad and makes him feel like he almost will get punished if he does this too often. And because she would be then at home with her kids. But this is what you signed up for, Robin, when you married a man that had children with other women. Whatever. That's a story for another day. But the way that they made it seem was that Cody really doesn't see Truly that much, maybe a couple times a year. And it was almost always facilitated through someone else. So he relied on his other children to try to intermediate so that he could see Truly, and that the relationship he has with Truly isn't super close. And then they asked them, Ariella got this, you know, vanity, and it was this big gift that she got for the Valentine's Day. And they asked them, did Truly get anything like that? And they said, no, Truly didn't get anything like that. Nothing. They don't even know if Truly got a phone call or even a card. And McKelty also said that this idea that they did big gifts for Valentine's Day is a lie. She said that once they finally got money, he got his daughters boxes of chocolates. And they described this gift of getting her a vanity for her makeup as an over the top gift that he never would have done before. And other issues that they discussed with relation to Cody was, when Cody started bragging about the amount of money that he pays for Coyote Pass versus everything else, McKelty made the comment, well, you also didn't pay for any of your kids. You relied on all of your wives to pay for them. So Cody can talk all day about the money he spends, but he wasn't paying for his kids. And that is an expense that needs to be taken into consideration. He's responsible to take care of children under the law. Up until yesterday, Cody has never been held accountable, ever, in a court, having to be held to the standards of child support. So I don't know what the total amount he will pay per month is, but under Utah law, it says that parents have a legal duty to support their minor children unless a minor is emancipated. Child support continues until the child is 18 or has completed high school, whichever is later. Child is support for the use and benefit of the child, and in some cases, the court may order child support to continue after 18 for a disabled child who remains dependent. And once it's put in place by the court, it says all parties must obey court orders. Custodial parents may not withhold parent time, even if the child support is not being paid. A parent may not withhold child support, even if parent time is being denied. If a party does not obey a court order, the other party may file a motion asking the court to enforce the order. The enforcement order can include a judgment for money owed, and the court may also find a party in contempt of court and order the party to pay a fine or serve jail time. So once this is placed and put into an order, Cody has a monthly payment that he has to pay. And if he doesn't stay in compliance with that, Christine, file an order with the court to enforce that he pays. If he agrees to whatever parenting time and agrees to having her at certain times, or if she wants to go visit or whatever it is, Christine can't withhold Truly, and I don't believe she ever would, but Cody has to comply. And if he doesn't comply, he can get in trouble. And parents can be jailed in Utah if they don't pay child support. And because it's all going to be designated through the court and through the court system, Christine also has the ability to go through Utah's recovery services to enforce and get money from him. And under the law in the state of Utah, you can be charged with what's called criminal non-support, and it can actually become a felony. And that is if the arrearage exceeds $10,000 or if the obligation is unpaid for longer than 2 years. So if he gets to a balance of over $10,000, he can actually be charged with felony non-support. It's under Utah Code Section 76-7-201. I'm sure that this entire process has been aggravating and unnerving for Christine, because not only has she been forced to pay for and support her children without any help from him, but also the stress and the toll it takes on Truly to have this very tense relationship with a father that, for all intents and purposes, is a deadbeat dad, right? I mean, he just wasn't there for her. So what I like about this for Christine is that there's now a mechanism in place that she can use in order to enforce that he pays. And that mechanism to enforce is the possibility and the real threat of Cody going to jail if he doesn't pay. And what I also like about this is, even though this can be very difficult for parents, and some moms and dads that go through this will go through the court system for years and have to fight to get paid, and then their ex-partner or the biological parent that doesn't have child custody never pays. I mean, and that's horrible. But there's at least now this mechanism in place, this threat that will make Kody have to comply. And Kody doesn't just get to decide whether or not he wants to contribute the way that he's been able to decide he was going to contribute or not based on how his relationship was with his child and his wife. So what Kody did often was he would punish the wife that wasn't being obedient to him or that he didn't have a good relationship with. And so he would punish her by not being there for her kids. And then he would justify his lack of a relationship with the kids because of the wife not being a good, obedient wife and blame the wife for his lack of being a father. This is what he did for years with Christine. He blamed her for the fact that he had no relationship with his kids. It's his responsibility as a father to be a father. She can't make him do that. And I think Christine's been very pragmatic and logical when she talks about this on the show. And what I see from her is she doesn't ever get in the middle of the relationships, and she always says she wants him to have a good relationship with his kids, but she can't make him do that. He has to do that himself. So now she's making him have to agree to a settlement, right? The state of Utah will make him pay child support. Truly will be 18 in 3 years, so at least for the next 3 years he is on the hook. We have no idea what kind of arrearage he might be getting, like for if she's going to get money from the last 4 years. We also don't know what their settlement agreement is, but under Utah law, a settlement agreement is a legally binding contract that outlines the terms of the agreement between the parents regarding the child's custody, parent time, and child support. It's a written agreement that resolves the specific issues in dispute before they go to trial. It's legally binding, meaning it's enforceable by the courts if either party violates. It's comprehensive and it'll detail all the major issues related to that child. The court and the judge have to sign off on this to make it approved. And once approved, oftentimes these settlements will become public. So we might see that down the line. I don't know if we will. But once it's approved, the judge will make this enforceable. And that's when he really does not get a way out. And this being done this way, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Truly has a bigger say in this than she would have if she were younger. And I think she probably made it pretty well clear that she wants to stay with her mom. And I think it's good for Truly to be with her mom and be with her stepdad. And I like on the one hand, I'm glad that he's being held accountable for this. And I'm glad he's not being a jerk, but he has been a jerk for all these other years. So it kind of feels like a little bit too late. I also feel like the timing of this makes me feel a little bit suspect because the next episode coming is that Garrison passes away. And I feel like Cody's trying to get ahead of all of this damage control and the narrative because everything falls apart in the family once he died. And his relationships have suffered greatly. And he doesn't have contact with many of his kids anymore. So it's always just like too little too late. But he finally has the threat of jail if he doesn't pay. And that's not a threat he's ever had under any sort of law ever. So go, Christine. I hope you got everything. So what are your thoughts about this? Are you surprised that he came to an agreement? Are you happy for Christine? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.